Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So, as we are closing into this 7-star limited pool selector, a lot of people are asking me who they should pick and which I think are the best champions, and somebody asked me to actually do a proper ranking video for them, and this is kind of going to be it. I'm not going to rank all of them exactly as I see them in the game. However, I will go over the most important champions and the ones that I find the most value with and that are most likely, again, the best picks for this. And I'm kind of going to go in order because obviously, number one, it depends which batch these champions are from. Because Heart of Fire is by far the rarest thing. Heart of Fire champions haven't been available in just about any other way, and they're not in the base pool. And basically, if you miss them then there has been very few chances to acquire them. Therefore, there is much bigger chance that you will be missing them, or you will have the chance to acquire them in near future. That's why that batch immediately kind of by de facto becomes the most valuable, even if you would consider some other champions to be better than them. But also, it just so happens that I think the top 3 champions in there are from the Heart of Fire batch. And then we do have champs from the other sources, but again, for instance, for the Sentinel, Black Panther, Civil War, they're in the base pool now, and we already had a chance to acquire them from the Selector in the calendar. The Omega Days champions are in the base pool now as well, so plenty of people will have them. So again, it kind of depends, right? But let's just jump to it. I think the best pick for all of the people who do not have him is Nick Fury. Nick Fury, whether you like to admit it or not, is still like a massive staple of the game. And I think when you pick him, you just need to get him awakened one way or another. And then you can also kind of immediately start using him even whilst he is at a fairly low sig. He genuinely is a staple in Battlegrounds. He obviously has his use in questing as well and plenty of other game modes. But the most and biggest, and again, the important thing is that he is in the Heart of Fire. So you have barely had a chance to acquire him thus far. And he absolutely is a meta-relevant champion. One of those champions that, basically goes in everybody's decks by default. And you see him across the game just about everywhere. So I think Nick Fury is basically the best pick there for majority of the people. The only other exception could be Tigra. If you are very good with Tigra or massive Tigra enthusiast, then Tigra is, I think, also a super important champion to have access to. At the same time, keep in mind that unlike Nick Fury, you will not get an immediate benefit from her until you can get her to close to Sig 200. She really is a completely different champion with low Sig ability and high Sig ability. And low Sig, she's significantly worse, and to a point where you wouldn't necessarily want to use her. So if you do pick Tigra, you really want to have Sig stones ready to get her close to Sig 200. And again, for some people, I think Tigra is going to be the best pick. For most people, Nick Fury is kind of the more sensible, more realistic choice because, again, he's going to be super useful and you can start using him earlier even without the super high Sig. And again, Tigra does take skill, patience, and practice, and perhaps not everybody is willing to learn it, but obviously Tigra has some very good potential results. Like in the current meta, dude. Just get to level 2 and everything dies with Tigra. So I absolutely love my Tigra. I do have both Tigra and Nick Fury at rank 4 as well. Spot number 3, I'm going to give it to Fam. Fam, again, is a Heart of Fire champion, so there has barely been any chances to acquire him. And he is still absolutely relevant. He's good. He's also currently one of the more meta-relevant champions in the current Battlegrounds. But in general, he does put in a lot of work. He's a dual-purpose champion. Again, he barely squeezed into my top 20 champion ranking video as well. So again, I do find there to be quite a bit of value. And obviously, you do want him at a higher Sig as well. But he is usable, unduped, or at lower Sig. You do lose some things from his kit. For instance, the damage cap is noticeable. And then in some instances, that bleed and incinerate duration reduction can be vital, but again, you will get main functionality of the champion even unawakened. So if you absolutely know for a fact that you will not get any gems and you will be rocking this champion unawakened, then I suppose Fam could potentially be the better option, because Nick Fury really does need to be awakened. High Sig is nice, but you can build that up gradually. Then we have Tigra, where High Sig is an absolute must, and Fam is more workable, unduped, and also a very, very solid choice. Other notable champions that obviously we do have to highlight, but again, everything else past these three will have had opportunities to acquire them and will have more opportunities to acquire them in the future. So again, I do think there is a very distinctive kind of like one of these three for like vast majority of the people, because everything else past this point is already in basic polo, and we have had a Selector for and stuff like that. But let's move on. There's Sentinel. I think Sentinel is super nice, good champion to have access to. Obviously, Awakened, he is going to be significantly better, especially with a higher Sig, with the increased debuff duration, and also becoming more dangerous as a defender. So yeah, Sentinel is also always a good pick if you do not have him. Deadpool X-Force is great. He is a top 10 mutant. He's like one of the best mutant nukes. He interacts insanely well with any attack modification. As we are seeing currently, he's basically an auto ban for me, because he's by far and away one of the most dangerous and fastest nukes in the current meta. And that kind of happens every other month, every other season, basically, where Deadpool X-Force is always a viable champion to use, but then there's going to be like 1 in 3 seasons where he becomes like the best champion in the game, or like one of the best attackers. So be wary, and very good champion to have access to. Black Panther Civil War, huge caveat. Unlike Deadpool X-Force, who is perfectly fine unduped, dupe only really gives him like one matchup, which is Nick Fury. Other than that, you're fine without it. We have Black Panther Civil War, and unlike Deadpool, you do want to Sig 200 the guy. That's quite as simple as that, because at the max Sig, the key thing is you start with 20 charges and you have significantly bigger damage output, as well as increased physical resistance. Obviously grants you tankiness because you're going to be parrying a lot. There you go. You do want him to be at Sig 200. Another notable champion here at spot 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'd put Carl. Carl is again a very aggressive nuke type champion. He doesn't have the widest matchup list, but at the same time, that ability to parry projectiles and ability to bypass evade and auto block definitely comes into clutch, especially in some key matchups. And Carl is also very, very dangerous and great champion to have access to. Moving on, we have Quicksilver. Quicksilver is listed here mainly for his prestige. If you do not have one yet, and you are currently trying to stack up your prestige, because everybody is, prestige is basically skyrocketing as a result of the Banquet event, then obviously Quicksilver is still, let me quickly double check, Quicksilver is 9th highest prestige champion in the game, and can be a great help, obviously. Also, actually, I'm currently running Quicksilver in my BG deck. So there are some other uses, obviously, aside from Prestige for Quicksilver. And I know there are some diehard fans. And there are some uses in Ward, thanks to that Wither, basically, and that billion hit combo. There are some nodes, especially in this like new format Ward, where increasing your combo quickly can be very beneficial. So Quicksilver can help with that. Has his uses, but again, let's face it, primarily it's Prestige. Then Moleman. I know a lot of people are after the Moleman who haven't pulled him yet. He's a nice, good champion to have. Perfectly viable, unduped. With Quicksilver, you do kind of want to dupe him, and you do want to sig him up for Prestige. Moleman is perfectly fine unduped. You do miss out on a bit of damage, but it's not that big of a difference, because it's based on missing health, so you don't want to be missing much health in general. And yeah, Moleman still viable and relevant. I use him still to this day, for instance, in Alliance Quest. If I'm running Recall Masteries, I use him in Alliance Wars at times because of his like 100% guaranteed debuff shrug ability, plus then the quick nuke option once you do enter your frenzy, and also automatic evade and auto block counter at the beginning of the fight. Obviously, you kind of have to pick and choose in between damage and his utility now, which kind of sucks, but definitely not as, I would say, relevant as the previous champion that I mentioned, but absolutely still, you know, has his uses. And then we have Anti-Venom as well. And Anti-Venom here is kind of mainly for, again, specific situations where you might find use for him, especially if you do not have Leader. Anti-Venom is then, I'd say, probably the second best health reversal champion in the game. And he also obviously has quite a bit of other utility and damage. It just doesn't necessarily work the best in battlegrounds. But overall, for instance, Anti-Venom is my champion of choice for raids. Whenever that happens once a month, and currently he's destroying that. It can be good for incursions and another, again, Alliance War. He has been of use as well because of his immunities and, you know, working with some of the hazard chip nodes. He's one of the few science champions that has access to stagger. So again, significant champion that has value. But again, I think the top 3 is quite clear. I think Nick Fury is the best choice for most. If you are good or are willing to learn and have 6 stones, then Tiger is probably the best. And Fam is the best if you don't have the 6 and you don't have the Awakening Gems and stuff like that, because he can do the best unduped. And these 3 are by far the rarest champions that are listed here. Obviously, in the Omega Days pool, we still have like APOC, but let's face it, nobody really does anything with APOC these days. And I-Bomb is fine. There are some uses for I-Bomb, but again, nothing too crazy. So there you go, your limited pool Selector 2025 champions, kind of ranked. So hopefully you guys found this useful. If you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the good buttons. I'll catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the